So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait and fake an Americana attack on one side, anticipating that he will defend it, and then I'm going to take the arm on the opposite side. I'm going to double up on his wrist on the cross side, and I'm going to push it all the way down to the mat. So even if the person doesn't know any jiu-jitsu, when you do this, even if it's the guy's first day, he knows something is up. You're pushing and forcing the arm down to the mat. Pretty much everybody wants to remedy that. So as I push it down, I can anticipate that he's going to turn and come help with this other arm. See how he turns his body and helps with the other arm? He's trying to prevent whatever it is I'm doing on this side, whether or not he knows what kind of attack it is. I'm going to allow him to turn. So I'm actually going to pick my hips and my chest up, and I'm going to let him turn over onto his side. So go from here to here. Now he comes over to help. Perfect. This arm comes across the body. I make a little room for him to do that. I also keep my hips loose so he's able to turn without me moving too much. Then I'm going to drop my chest right down the top of his arm. So once you do that, sternum on the tricep, right below the elbow, and I'm going to lay all my weight on it. If the guy's really big and strong, you can even wrap the head and pull yourself in, but most of the time your body weight's enough. Now it's hard for you to move that arm back across, right? It's really tough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed myself into the gift wrap position. So this arm is going to go deep around the neck, and what I would like to do is I'd like to grab this wrist, but it's out of reach. It's probably out of reach because he's holding it away from me. So what I'm going to do is use this free hand to feed my left. And now I start to move into the gift wrap position. So right before I cinch this up so tight that I can't get my arm through, I'm going to thread that needle. 1, 2. And I'm not using my thumbs for this particular grip. I'm just keeping them closed. 1, 2. Anytime we get this grip, it's pretty much universally necessary that I rev that motorcycle grip. So I'm going to push my knuckles forward, my wrists come up. That puts a lot of tension on the grip. And I also do a little bit of a tricep press down, but I'm going to bring him close to me. So when I get to this position, I know that he is looking toward my right. So that means I'm going to pick my right foot up and dig my heel tight to his ribs. On the opposite side at the exact same time, my knee goes to the back of his head, and I move totally perpendicular. Okay, so I have arm control, I've got good angle. The last thing I need to do is get my legs in the mix and get good leg work. So now I'd like to pass my left leg around, but first I need to ensure that his head is framed out of the mix here. So my left forearm is going to pass all the way around his head. I'm going to smash his jaw and his head down to the mat. Big tricep press now. I want him really flattened out. I'm going to lean forward because wherever my head is, that's where my balance is going to be. And if my head is back, when I go to try to pass this leg, I'm going to lose my balance and fall before my leg gets all the way around the head, which is a big no-no. That leg always has to clear the head before I fall back. In fact, I want you guys to practice leaning forward, passing this leg, and being able to sit on the person's shoulder. And you can fall back when you want to, not when you have to. So when I get to this position, now it's time for me to slide my tailbone down the back of the shoulder blades, and I'm going to let my butt hit the mat. I'm going to try my best to keep the soles of my feet pressed down tight. I'm going to bring him close to me with my heels. I'm going to squeeze my knees tight together. So at this point, my partner is going to grip up and defend, right? Pin, squeeze. Don't forget, push those knuckles forward, roll those wrists up. And with this tension, he's already starting to feel a little bit of a bite on his bicep and forearm. It's just really painful and uncomfortable for him to hold on to it. But as I push my knuckles forward and as I roll my wrists up, if I keep my leg work tight and I pull this elbow into my sternum and lean back, it creates so much tension and pain. The only way for him to alleviate the pressure is to let his grip go. So really try to hang on to this, okay? So knuckles forward, wrists up, heels pin, knees squeeze, and now I pull his elbow to my sternum as I lean back. You feel how painful that is? The only way to alleviate that tension is to let go. As soon as I feel him let go, I'm going to take his arm toward the Americana side, toward his head. I'm going to do this. I just want to keep it away from him re-gripping. And now I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to let his wrist slide to the crook of my right elbow. Once it's in there and I feel like it's secure, I can, one at a time, change my grip to the wrist. 1, 2. And you'll notice that I've made sure that I'm rolling his thumb to face the ceiling. You can still arm lock somebody with the palm to the ceiling, but it's much more powerful if you're here. I know this is the 5th time I've said this, but heels pin, knee squeeze. That leg work is so important to finish a strong arm lock. To finish it up, I'm just going to bring this hand down to my sternum. If for some reason he's not tapping at that point when it comes all the way down, I'm just gonna raise my hips off the mat, get my hips involved.